Welcome back to Thank God You're Not My Child. Yes, remember, it's a comedy podcast. We don't judge here. We just talk about the stuff that I want to talk about because I'm deciding what to talk about. Unless you DM me, you got to tell me, what do you want to talk about? Anyway, today we're going to talk about that measly little elf on the shelf. Yes, I'm going to give you a pro tip. This is a pro tip. Listen to it. Listen to it closely. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Never start the elf on the shelf. Whew, there are some problems with it. I'm just telling you, first of all, I think I like the ideal, if you think about it. Elf on the shelf. It's kind of cool. I mean, but when I was growing up, we didn't have to worry about an elf watching us to make sure we were good. We had something we called belt on the shelf. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Get all of that talking out. Oh my God, I can't believe your dad or your mom spanked you with a belt. Well, it didn't happen often. I was the middle daughter. It might have happened often. I mean, it didn't happen often. It didn't. But when it needed to, it did. And I damn well knew that if I didn't act right, it was going to happen. So, I can see the fun in it. So there's a whole lot of stuff to think about whenever you're doing the elf on the shelf. So the first thing I don't know. I did it for daycare for probably 8 years, I think. And because it was fun, I made fun out of it. But the longer I did it, the more I realized, first of all, I've got 8 to 10 kids looking for that stupid elf on the shelf 5 days a week. And I either couldn't hide it good enough or hit it too easy. And it just made things, or I'd forget to move it. I mean, let's just think about it. Raise your hand. Who's forgot to move the elf on the shelf? And then you feel like, oh crap, I failed. And one of my things is, why put something else that you're going to fail at being a parent? Because who doesn't feel like they're failing? Every day is something. So let's go ahead and do the elf, honey. So we can fail some more, feel like we are. So, and then, I didn't have kids on the weekend. And so then I would have kids show up on the weekend, because I'd have friends and stuff that were in daycare, and they'd be like, oh, the elf is still here. The elf never moved. Oh, crap. Yeah, my problem. I forgot to move it. But it was always fun. I tried to make it fun. And that's why it got started was, I do believe the girls that started it because they thought it was a cute idea to make your kids behave. Because Christmas, Santa, he sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. We all know the song. So that was their whole ideal. And I'm sure they've made millions on it. So I'm not really knocking it for that. But the one thing that I can say is it was just a weird thing to, some parents didn't want to do it at their house, and also I did it. So I would have kids come in and find this, and the funniest one was my Isabel. She was like 1.5, and that girl could come in at 1.5, and no matter where that stupid elf was, she would stand there and point at it. She was the best hunter ever at 1.5. And it was like I would go harder and harder and harder. And here's this 1.5-year-old walking in going, oh, elf, elf. And it was so hard to hide it when she was there because, she would find it. And her mama Dawn know that. She know that. She's a good finder. So, but over the years, I had some really funny stuff. And it just made things, it did make things fun, but on every once in a while, most years I had them, probably 3 out of the years, I would, some of the kids would, oh, I don't have one. And their parents would go, we were gonna, but they're like expensive. And so Christmas Eve, I would send it in a box or a sack home with one of the parents so they could keep it going, surprise your kid for, Christmas morning. Oh, excuse me. That would be Disakis today. Anyway, I did that 3 times and never got an elf back. I guess I didn't have enough Christmas magic. That elf never came back to me. So the next year, I would have to buy another one. And the last time I went to buy another one, they're so expensive that I found a Yoda elf. Found a Yoda elf. And I decided not to do the elf on the shelf. I got this cute little Yoda elf that was Christmassy, and he was so cute. And that was the last one I bought. And I never sent it home with anybody. And he's mine. He's mine. That's mine. And he worked the same way the elf did. Same way. And my whole theory was, I thought this Yoda elf, it's Yoda. So with the thought of remembering, because I used to have to set a timer to remember at 5:30 in the morning, a timer would go off and say, hide the elf, hide the elf. I either missed it or went over and hid the elf again. So I tried to set an alarm. Well, I thought with this Yoda elf, Yoda, that I had it made. I'd never forget again, because Yoda, the force is with you, that whole thing. But, it didn't work. I still forgot, but it was fun. But I did funny things, there might be things that were, hiding in the sugar bowl or something like that, but nothing that was too traumatic. But I would say that now I looked at videos this year, 2023, and there are some parents that are trying some, we're talking just mean, and their kids are screaming because they're scared. And I'm like, what are you planning on doing with your kid? It just doesn't really make any sense why you're trying to scare your kid. Having fun with your kid and you want to do it because ask your friends that do it how most days it can be fun to hide that elf. But then there's those days you're in bed at 10:30 or later and you're just stinking tired and you have to get up early or get up that night to hide the elf because your kids are going to find it. It's not hide. And let me tell you, the best thing to tell your kids if you forgot to do it was somebody must have touched him. Somebody must have touched the elf because he didn't have any magic. At least I used that one a few times. And you can use that one too. That one always works. Oh, and let's not forget the one last year, a couple of years ago, that came up with you make it a broken leg saying, I've hurt myself and I can't move. That gives you 2 or 3 days, a week maybe, that you don't have to touch it. So that one's pretty good too. But, okay, parents, why are you trying to scare your kids with this elf? It's supposed to be a happy, cheerful thing. Not bloody and ugly, and it's just not, because kids do learn. Oh, that was a big that was because I've probably had one too many beers, maybe. So when you're doing this elf with your kids, it's supposed to be fun and hide it really, really good. Sometimes I hid it so well in the later years that they might take hours to find it. And they'd give up and then they start again. And I might play the hotter code game with them like, oh, I know where it is. But I'm not going to tell you. And that's the whole bit of the Christmas magic is, think of Polar Express, Christmas magic. It does not involve anything that is horrible or scary. And, when your kids know that this elf isn't real, okay? I think they do. But when you're telling it with Christmas magic that it has the ability to fly and it goes back, and then you watch the show, the elf comes and they're alive, your kid, good possibility, is going to think that elf is truly alive with Christmas magic. So if it can get away with doing horrible, nasty things, what's to say maybe your kid doesn't think about it can get away with nasty, horrible things? It's a thought. It's a thought. Just go ahead. Think about it. Just think about it, So I would tell a new parent that unless you really want to go all in and do it for the Christmas magic and just make it fun, don't do it. Don't do it. And, when your kid comes home from kindergarten or first grade going, we don't have an elf, you're going to have to figure something out. If you want to say no, say no. If you want to do it, do it. But please, don't do it horrible and scary. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big horror fan. And I could totally, if I had older kids like I do now, I could totally do it and see who could get the most horrible and scary. But my kids are 30 and 35. I mean, come on. When you have a 4-year-old kid or a 2-year-old kid, do you really want them seeing? I saw one. Here's one. They had their elf and a plate next to it. And it had an elf hat, a little hat the elf had on. And then it had bones to look like it was a skeleton. And the note said, "Sorry, I was hungry. I ate my brother." Hello. What the fuck were you thinking as a parent? What the fuck were you thinking? I mean, I'm a horror fan, so yeah, I laughed at it. But then I thought, is this a 2-year-old kid that's reading this and they think, oh my God, you can eat your brother? I mean, come on. You never know. It could be true. So, think twice if you want to do it, because that elf sticks around. And it's like one of the worst things you have to do every night. I mean, you have to do laundry, you have to cook, you have to give your kids a bath, you have to make sure their homework's done, you have to take care of your husband or your wife, and you have to, all of the things you have to do, and then you get in bed, and then you have to, oh, fuck, I forgot to move the elf. How many times have you heard that? How many times have you heard it as a parent? Come on, be honest. How many times have you heard that as a parent? Yeah. So let me tell you, think twice before you do the elf. That's all I got to say. I'm back. Yeah, I'm back. And I just wanted to talk about Christmas and the gifts that you give your kids. I understand that we love our kids and we want to give them gifts, but if your kid, you can barely walk through the room because there's so much crap on their floor. And first of all, if they don't take care of it, you probably shouldn't give your kid anything. I don't mean, you know what? I do mean to be that person. I am that person. If your kids have so much stuff that they can't take care of it and it's all over the room, why should you spend money on something new? Spend money on a maid. I saw a TikTok tonight of a dad. They probably set it up. Toys out and all. TikTok, a lot of it's set up. But I saw a dad with a shovel shoveling the kids' toys up, and the kids going, no, no. But you know what? If they have that many toys that you have to use a shovel, first of all, don't throw them away. If they're good toys, donate them. Because there are kids out there that do not have rooms that look like that. There are kids that are lucky to have 1 or 2 toys. And that's something you always need to remember. But we celebrate Christmas because of Jesus. You remember? Do you guys remember that? Jesus' birth. And I know the whole thing. He wasn't born in December and the whole bit. I do get that. But it's become so commercial. What can you buy your kids? What can you buy your kids? I buy my kids everything. Okay, let's just get this straight. Jesus, he lived a perfect life on earth. And do you know how many gifts he got when he was born? 3. And he was perfect. And I know one thing, you might think your kid's perfect, but bingo, do you think so? He's perfect. My kids are perfect. You just need to remember, my kids are straight up perfectly Justin and perfectly Emily. Everybody messes up. Nobody's perfect. But do you think your kid deserves more than 3 presents? Think about it. I would like to get, when my kids were little, we went on a cruise every year. We started in, I think, 01 maybe. And that was one big present. So in their stockings, they would get things for the cruise, waterproof cameras, maybe a Hawaiian shirt, stuff like that. Stuff I knew they were going to, have fun with. And here's your cruise, because they didn't get it till January, February, the cruise. And then I'd get them something they wanted and then something they needed. And we had great Christmases. It was more about the games and the fun and we also, another thing to do is a $5 gift, or 5 or 10, because, things have gotten more expensive, and go buy that, let them buy it. And then you play the game and see what you brought for that gift, and to make it fun. And, it's more about time with your family and your kids rather than how much can I buy them. And that's the bottom line. Go back and look up Christmas Minute to Win It. Pick up some of those games to play with your kids, even on Christmas Day. It's a blast. It's a blast. And remember what Christmas is about. It's not about you going broke. It's not about you the Xbox, whatever is coming out this year. That's not what Christmas is about. It's about family. It's about love. And it's about Jesus, to show your kids how much you love him. Get those rooms clean too. Organize your kids' rooms so they can really play. Because when you know where everything is, it's easier to play. That's just the bottom line. You either believe it or you don't believe it. But after, 27 years or so in daycare, I can tell you, the more the kids knew where their toys were, the more and the better they played. So organize those rooms before Christmas. Donate those toys. Donate those toys to somebody that doesn't have anything. And remember, don't go broke for Christmas. Don't do it. I've been there when my kids were little. Buy everything you can. Gotta buy it, gotta have more presents. I grew up eventually and we just stopped and realized that it's not about the gifts, guys. Christmas is about the fun and about the time you have with your kids. And that sweet baby Jesus, that 8-pound, 6-ounce baby Jesus, that's what we're celebrating. So that's pretty much all I have to say. And remember, I don't want to say fuck that elf, but right now I'm retired. I don't have to do that elf, so fuck that elf. And remember, whenever you're standing back and you see that person or that kid or that Karen throwing a fit, all you have to say is, thank God she's not my child. So, until next time, then I think I might talk about, I don't know. You guys need to DM me. DM me. I am on Spotify now. You can actually, after you listen to an episode, you can actually put on there. You can put it on the comments if you want me to talk about something or funny or just have fun. So remember, you can always give me a 5-star. I'm on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Spotify right now. And 5-star. That's really all I'm listening to. Let's get it out there and let's have some fun. And remember, think twice about doing the elf. Until next time, thank God you're not my child.